Essays on Untouchables and Untouchability Social by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Chapter 2, Part 14. Besides the caste mentioned above, there are 11 others, lower than they, within whom the others do not associate, nor do they touch them under pain of death. And there are great distinctions between one and another of them, preserving them from mixture with one another. The purest of all of these low, simple folk are called Tuyas. Their work is mainly that of tending the palm groves and gathering the fruit thereof and carrying it away for wages on their backs, but for there are no beasts of burden in the land. There is another caste still lower than these, whom they call Manyan, Manchu in the printed text, who neither associate with others nor touch them, nor do the others touch them. They are washermen for the common people and makers of sleeping mats, from which occupations all but they are barred. Their sons must perforce follow the same trade. They have their own separate idolatry. There is another caste in this land still lower, whom they call Kanachus. Their trade is of making buckles and umbrellas. They learn letters for purposes of astronomy, for they are great astrologers, and foretell with great truth things that are to come. There are some lords who maintain them for this cause. There is also another, also heathen, called Ageres. They are masons, carpenters, smiths, metalworkers, and some are goldsmiths, all of whom are of a common descent and a separate caste, and have their idols apart from their other folk. They marry, and their sons inherit their property and learn from the father's trade. There is still yet another caste, still lower in this country, called Mogeres. They are almost as the same as the Tuyas, but they do not touch one another. They work as carriers of things belonging to the royal state when it moves from one place to another, but there are very few of them in this land. They are a separate caste, they have no marriage law, and most of them gain their living on the sea. They are sailors, and some of them are fishers. They have no idols. They are as well slaves of the Nayars. There is another yet caste lower still called the Monger, fishers who have no other work other than fishing, yet some sail in the Moors' ships and in those of the heathens, and they are very expert seamen. This race is this race is very rude. They are shameless thieves. They marry and their sons succeed them. Their women are of loose character. They sleep with anyone whatsoever, and it is held no evil. They have their own idolatry. In the land of Malabar, there is another caste of heathen even lower than these, who are called the Betunes. Their business is salt making and rice growing, and they have no other livelihood. They dwell in houses standing by themselves in the fields away from the roads, whither the gentlefolk do not walk. They have their own idolatry. They are slaves of the kings and Nayars and pass their lives in poverty. The Nayars make them walk far away from them and speak to them from afar off. They hold no intercourse with any other caste. There is yet another caste, even lower and ruder, whom they call the Panins, who are great sorcerers and live by no other means. There is yet another caste, still lower, by the name Revolines, a very poor folk who live by carrying firewood and grass to the towns. They may touch none, nor may any touch them under pain of death. They go naked, covering only their private parts with scant and filthy rags, the more part of them indeed with leaves of certain trees. The women wear many brass rings in their ears and on their necks, arms and legs, necklaces and bracelets of heads. The end.